Welcome back to another video of the True Authentic Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Foster, and today I have two special guests with me. Last episode, we had a special guest. Every episode, every interview, we're going to have a special guest. With me, I have two young men. They're in their 30s and 40s. That's young to me, I would say. But I have two young men who work in the mental health field. I have one who owns a mental health business, and I have another one who just works in the mental health field, has been working pretty much as long as I've been alive. So today we're going to be talking about men's mental health and how the stigma really breaks us down as men in general. And we're just going to dive deep into why mental health for men especially is so important and what we can do to help better our mental health. So let's dive right in. So today I have Mr. Stephen Foster.
Hey, what up?
And I have Mr. Christopher Sapp.
What's up?
I want to say for Chris first.
Yes.
For you working in the mental health field, you've been a guidance to me when I've been working in the mental health field, and I would really say that you're my go-to guy whenever I have any questions or anything.
I appreciate it.
And I really want to ask, what made you step into the mental health field? What course in life did you face for you to say, okay, I want to do mental health?
And I'm gonna be fully transparent here because I know that's what we're here for. I initially went to school for computer engineering, and I actually found out while I was in college that my granddad, I was always told that my granddad had a heart attack, and that's how he passed. But I actually found out that he had committed suicide. And so I think that kind of led me to kind of spiraled a little bit. But when I did kind of get myself together, I decided I wanted to change fields because I wanted to kind of understand that mindset and what would lead somebody to kind of get there. So that was kind of like the beginning of my journey in mental health.
Okay. So how about you, Mr. Foster? What about you with your mental health? You own a mental health company now. Right before my eyes, yes, you can see the resemblance. I try to hide it, but that's my father, Mr. Foster.
It's uncanny.
Yeah, and he's been in my life because he's my father, but I've just been seeing him grow and everything within through the success, and evidently talked to my mom yesterday, and she brought up how her and my father were able to just have a plan since my sister was born, and she's older than me, but they had a plan to really just put us in a good path. And I would say that he put us in a pretty great path. I would not be here today without him. So I really just want to ask, what, besides having us and just having a mindset on just doing the things that you need to do to not only for you, but to be an actual man for your kids, and you've done that, and I appreciate for that, but I also want to ask, what made you say, okay, I want to do mental health? I know that you worked in the shipyard from viewing you and stuff, but what made you shift into the mental health field?
Ooh, that's actually a good question. That's actually a good, you put a pin right there. So that kind of puts a little timeline for me on my transition from doing engineering work to actually doing mental health. I can honestly say one of the biggest things that really drove me to wanting to do mental health has actually been the people around me. Is seeing, because I'm that type of guy that cares about people.
Absolutely.
And, I remember my first day at the shipyard, I was looking down, and I was so afraid to give people eye contact.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? God, I want you to put this thing in my heart that I know you put in my heart for me to share with people. And that's just, communicate, talk with them, socialize with them, understand them.
Yeah.
And so understanding people, I realized that, as being a young pastor or at a real young age, it was like, you know what? I want to learn more about the behavior of people, because you can never put your expectation on people, right?
Right.
You got to understand where they're coming from. I mean, you got your culture, you got their social economic status. There's so many things that make a person a person. So those factors kind of really made me want to dive in and help people. Seeing our loved ones pass away and seeing how it just really made people change. You see your friend back in the day, and then that his son or his brother or whatever passed away, and you see him and it's different. And you're like, oh, for me, I was that guy that was always like, wow, what happened? What changed? And are they able to come out of it? And so I wanted to be that guy to be able to help other people. So in order for me to do that, I needed to learn more about mental health. That's exactly what led me to wanting to. And of course, my own struggles that I had growing up as a teenager. And having that person. I wish I had a Chris Sapp.
Yeah.
I actually wish I had a Jeremiah.
Likewise, brother.
When this dude was younger, I said, Jeremiah, you so cool.
Yeah.
I said, if I was your age, I would want to be your friend.
That's actually a fact, man.
That's true.
And just to return the favor back to you, man, I do want to say that for your young age, I think you're very mature.
Yep.
I think you're very empathetic.
Appreciate
and
it.
you're always open to listen to other people too. So please don't stop being who you are either, man.
I
We
appreciate
appreciate you for that too.
Appreciate it. And to piggyback on y'all, I would say y'all too. Like I said, just a big impact in my life.
Thank you, brother.
I wouldn't be in a podcast without Mr. Foster. I wouldn't be able to really, like Chris said, be empathetic and look in different perspectives and just feel my emotions and be who I am.
Mm.
And Chris, actually, knowing him for like 2 years now, he's really been an uncle to me and everything.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Don't get me all emotional.
We're going to dive deep into what we do for our mental health, but I really want to dive deep into why I started mental health as well. Back in 2020, I was just an athlete. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who I was outside of that. So my dad was like, just come work with me, So when I was working with him, he was doing mental health. He was just doing with another company. And then ever since, my mind just transitioned to wanting to help others. And I took a little journey after I started working with him, and that made me realize who I am and how deep your mindset has to be and can be in order to get the things that you want in life, in order to be happy, in order to just be fulfilled. A lot of people think of life as we're just put here, stuck here, and we got to deal with what we're faced. When in reality, we only see the world and how we only see it within our mind. So to me, it's always your mindset. It's always your mindset. And when I was young, my mindset wasn't really sharp. I always had a non-abundant mindset, and now my mindset's full of abundance, full of opportunity, full of just perspective. I'm just very blessed to be here, be on this podcast. And yeah, just ever since I stepped in mental health, it just took a turn, and this is where I am today.
And I even think too, man, like, I think getting into this field made me realize that when I was younger, I just kind of allowed certain feelings. I just ignored it. I would just say like, oh, well, whatever. I'll deal with that on the back end or whatnot. And I think, I think we allowed a lot of feelings to kind of sit on us when, we were, and I don't know if you agree, but like, I think I allowed a lot of negative emotions to kind of sit because I never really addressed them because I didn't know who to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel comfortable asking for help. And then even when you did back in our time, I don't know how it was for you, but I know that it was kind of frowned upon back then to say you were depressed or say you were sad or say you were having negative thoughts. So I think it was a real struggle for me. So a lot of those things I didn't learn until I actually got into my 20s and older.
I'm glad you talked about that, though, because that was the next one, the stigma. What was the stigma that you had to go through when it comes to men's mental health with just dealing with necessarily being a quote-unquote man, the definition and the stigma of actually being a man and the mental health of being a man? What did you two have to face? You either or can go first, but...
Okay. Can I dive into that one?
Of course.
Fix your face. Why your face look like that? So we were taught to fix our face.
Fix it.
Because we couldn't show emotion. There's like really 3 emotions you really see people do. Cry, be mad, and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So hey man, how do you feel? Frustrated? We're not going to say we feel frustrated or disappointed or mad, right? So for us, the stigma is to either do one of the 3 and not be as colorful as we can be. We kind of call it like Draking now. So it's funny because you could be dark skinned and be light skinned.
Be light skinned.
Light skin on. Yeah. Because that's like Drake, you're in your feelings basically. Yeah. It's different from today. So for us growing up, a lot of the stigmas was ego driven. Yeah. A man had to have certain things done. A man has to do certain things. Mm-hmm. So I remember I caught myself when Taya and Jeremiah were younger. Taya was getting ready to cook something on the stove, and I was like, "You should know how to cook this." And her and Kiki, they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, I caught myself."
Yeah, because
it's like a natural thing. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to like really be sexist or anything like that. I was just saying society has actually labeled men are to do these things, women are to do these things, and look, women can do just as much as men, but hey, that weighs 100 pounds over there. And if we're in the room, you already know we're going to try to lift it and try to help out. So that's just us. So though it is a double standard that's there as men, we are challenged to hold up our end of the standard, right? Mm-hmm. What is that in, bro? What is it? Go ahead.
You talking about what with the...
just being a man and the stigma.
Oh, yeah. So this is something that I've always had an issue with. So me and Steve talk a lot. I think oftentimes when we get through a very long, rough day, sometimes, and it didn't start as something that we did on purpose. It would just kind of be like, hey, we would just call and we would just kind of talk and just kind of get our feelings out, talk about how frustrated we might have been with work or the amount of, things that had us overwhelmed or whatnot. And it kind of made me realize how much, I don't know, I don't want to blame society, but I've fallen into the trap. I've kept it from myself. Like, I started realizing one day I just sat down, I was like, bro, we need these nights. We need these talks. We need these days. But all my life, I feel like I've had people tell me, like, hey, that's what a real man do, or this is what a real man do. That's not being a real man. You being a real man, hey, that dude right there, that's a real man. Hey, you got to man up. And I'm just like, what does that mean? What does that mean? You know what I mean? What defines a man? And I don't like that a lot of times. Society does try to put us all into a little box, so you can't step outside of that. But I don't think that's fair. And I think a lot of times trying to meet those standards is what leads to a lot of the mental health issues that a lot of men deal with now. And the stereotype of not being able to talk about it is why a lot of them sometimes reach that point where
they can't come back from. Yeah,
exactly.
So I'll piggyback on you on that. With the stigma that we have, just talking with friends and stuff. And I feel like I was talking to one of my friends. I think it was Vontae, and we were talking about how we just get mad, like how men only just got one type of anger, really, and that's just anger. And like you said, we do things that we fuck up, to be honest. We screw up and we're in things that we cannot come back from because we only taught one type of emotion that we only can express. And I feel like you said, being a man isn't just about bottling your emotions and exploding whenever you're mad. It's about actually being of service. Yeah. And you can be of service to yourself as well by pleasing yourself and just feeling the emotions that's within you, and what the stigma that I have faced and continue to face, I would say, is people really give a fuck about what other people think and say. So they're going to do, like you said, ego driven. They're going to do things that's courtesy to their ego, how they look towards the world and outside. And in reality, they want to serve themselves. But in the men's mental health wise, it's like they want more than that. But just because of how society is, they want to hide that true self away from them because they want to be a man in society's eyes. Yep. So I agree with both of you guys. I actually talked to my other friend Jalen yesterday, and we were talking about how basically like everybody in the city, like I know Jalen now because he works with us. But if he didn't work with us, I probably wouldn't have contact him, follow him, any of that, because it's like, especially us men, we be in our own world. Especially like we'll grow up in high school, we'll be together, but once it's time to go and grow up and go into the real world, we're gone. And it's like we don't normally connect to those people that we grew up with. And I feel like as mental health, as men, we need to you don't even got to hang out, chill every day. You don't got to text at all, for real. Just have that one text a day, or have that one meetup once a month, or once, twice, 3 times every year, to where it's like you just get away and you just appreciate what you guys been through, appreciate who you guys are, and just how valuable you are and what you bring to the table, not just anger, but also peace, love, just actual sanity of tapping into your emotions, because being a human is more important than being a man, in my opinion, because being a human being means you're tapped into who you truly are. And being a man is actually a stigma that we have in this world. So just tap into your human side and just know that once you tap into your human side, you're already a man. You're already a woman if you're a woman. Like, you're a grown woman, you're a grown man if you're already tapped into who you are and go with your true beliefs and not worried about what society says.
Jeremiah, can I share a little bit on? I like that. That's actually really nice information. That's actually really deep, because it sounds like a challenge for us to rise out of the stigma, is what you're saying, and to identify as a human being the things that we are equipped with. One thing I like about Jeremiah and his brand, the true authentic, is really being yourself, being an individual, and really not, because to me, if you're hating on somebody, that means you're comparing yourself to that person, right? And you're not looking at yourself, but you're looking at them. Once again, we're talking about the ego. So the ego keeps you from that. And a lot of times it's hard, but life experiences, even if you go in that cycle, you will find out that the life experiences that you keep going through over and over and over and over, It's trying to get you out of the ego, and it's getting you more tapped into yourself, your true identified self. Like Jeremiah said, the human side.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's actually really dope.
I appreciate that.
So let me, if you don't mind, can I ask both of you guys a quick question real quick?
Of course.
I did hear you say that oftentimes, especially a lot of the younger men that are coming up now, like they care too much about what other people think and what what other people's perception of them is.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think we can work collectively to work towards not having the masses of our young men feel like that or be so concerned? Because I know it's one of those things where it's a lot easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, do you guys have any idea
Okay,
where we can maybe start?
Yesterday, I was talking to Jalen. I was telling him, so people don't meet me. People only meet me surface level. So when he heard me talk, he was like, "Okay, wow, like, okay, you really trying to like do something." So
Yeah.
I was telling him about how men when we grow up, we don't normally connect. We just do our own thing, and that's good. But like how me and my friend Nas, how we connect. Like I haven't hit him up in months, but I know if I hit him up, be like, "Yo, I need to see you tomorrow. Like we need to talk."
Yeah,
He's there.
that's
So it's like I want to have a community. I was talking to my dad about this as well. Community to where it's like it's online, but once I get actual like finances, I want to actually start having events
I think that's
for
a great
us
idea.
like that. It'll be men's mental health. It will be an event for just fathers. It will be just things for men as well, to where we're events just for us. And I want to have a community group to where it's just a whole bunch of men in the group community, just sharing positivity, just sharing what the wins, even the losses. They can just learn from the losses. We can, encourage and stuff like that, but actually have a community to where we're all uplifting each other, no matter
I would love that, man.
what we're going through. It's like a judge-free judge. It's just we're lifting another man up.
Yeah.
So I like that. They actually have I remember when COVID hit, there was a guy in Chicago. It's called Coffee and Mental Health. I followed him on Instagram, and I remember when he first started it. And then I just happened to go onto his page like a year ago, and I was like, goodness gracious. His audience is amazing. His following is amazing. He's up there, but it's a need.
Exactly.
So that is a need,
a big need, actually.
Yes, that we stress,
Mm-hmm.
and in our generation, and he's stressing it now at their generation. So imagine what it's going to do.
Right, and that's why I think it's really important that we're doing this. Like with we're two different generations here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's extremely important because it's not to say that younger kids aren't gonna respect us if we say it or not, but a lot of times a lot of those kids do have to see somebody that's at least close in age to them, or just somebody that looks a little closer and like somebody they can feel like they can relate to a little bit more. So it's great when we have multiple generations coming together for the same purpose to, because I feel like it can reach a wider range of people like that.
I agree.
Okay. So what struggles did you guys face now today, like and daily on mental health? Like what struggles do you guys face?
You want me to take that one real quick, Mr. Foster?
Oh, go for it. You first.
So, I don't want to, I'm not going to say, I was going to say, I don't want to get all deep, but that's the point. That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
So I will jump into it. And this is something that, Mr. Foster knows, we've talked about it before. I'm sure we've talked a little about it, but I have dealt with depression. I have in the past allowed it to get very, it ended up being a lot more of a struggle than I thought it would be. And it was a very difficult time for me, because I think the hardest part about it was that I didn't feel like I could come to people about it initially. And I think the biggest reason for that was because I felt like I would be a burden.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that as I got into my 30s, as I reached 40, I just recently turned 40 last month. I was like, I do kind of look at myself as just a machine, and I'm not supposed to, and I know that's, but no, like I look at myself as just a guy, as a machine. You go to work, you do this, you pay the bills, you make sure your wife is okay, make sure the kids are okay. You go to bed, you wake up, and you do it again. And it's like, you're not supposed to burden anybody with, oh, you're sad. What do you mean you're sad? That in my head, that's what I felt like people would, say. Mm-hmm. So it was very hard for me to talk to anybody. Mr. Foster here was a very huge part of that. He gave me, we're really good friends. So he knows when something's wrong with me. So sometimes I come in there and I pretend nothing's wrong. And he'll just like be nudging me like, you gonna keep lying, man? You gonna keep telling me that? But just having somebody that not only made me feel comfortable enough to open up, but what pushed me to it. And then also having a wife who would say like, it's okay. Like, if you need to cry, go ahead and cry. If you need some time to yourself, get some time to yourself. It wasn't an attack. It wasn't, well, what, you don't want to be around me? Having someone who felt very supportive. If she was so supportive throughout that time. And that was big for me. But, I'm learning. I'm still learning myself. Like I said, we're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is a journey. Every day you learn something new. And so I'm a lot more comfortable talking about it now. And, like I said, I mean, I'll be the first one to say, like, last year was the first time I started taking antidepressants. I'm not saying that you have to do that. Everybody's different, but it has been helpful to me, and I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of that. I still think I'm a good person. That
don't change who you are.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. So yeah, that's been a little bit of my struggles, man. And that was, like I said, that was just as recent as last year, man. So I'm still a work in progress myself. But
proud of you, regardless.
Thank you, man. And I think that's why these spaces are extremely important.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, everybody, and I like what you're saying. Everybody's not wired the same. And I think a lot of times we're looking for that heart peg hole, that that little thing we used to have was a heart, like a diamond and a square in it. You try to put the heart in
you try to force it. Get in there.
So our problems aren't all cookie cutter. They're not all the same. Though we kind of like go to doctors for, physical stuff and, therapists or whatever for other stuff. And I can honestly say that I'm willing to admit that I actually see a therapist. Mm-hmm. I see a therapist every other week.
That's great.
So therapy provides clarity.
Yeah,
I just want to say that.
Bar.
I'm just going to stop there and say that therapy provides clarity. So for mine, it is balance, equilibrium. Trying to juggle being a business owner, being a father, a husband, as well as an extended friend, colleague, anything and everything that I need to be to the people that are all around me. Artist, Arthur. That's a lot. It can be very draining, and you can find out that you give yourself the last bit of energy that you have. And if you have no energy left, you have nothing to give to yourself. And if you have nothing to give to yourself, eventually it's going to catch up with you. And you're going to find yourself in situations where you're like depressed or you feel a certain way because you haven't done the very thing that you need to do. And that's self-care. Self-care is something that I have struggled with because of the balance, the equilibrium. So my therapist is providing clarity to me to help me adjust my schedule. So I'm actually glad that I'm actually doing that, and then the therapist is helping me with that.
Okay.
Therapy is clarity. Put it on the shirt, boy.
Put it on that shirt, boy. No, but I both agree with you guys. I'm both proud of you guys both because I really believe without mental health, for one, any of us would not be here. Without you, for two, with your family and just how our relationship is, like. I really don't think you know how valuable you are to me when it comes to just being there in your presence, Chris. Like you really help mentally, and you help me just realize that, like I said, just be me, just be happy.
Likewise with you, though,
just be happy, really. Appreciate it. So I would say the struggles that I face. I don't want to be cocky, but I would say I'm a little living testimony of just being on the right track when it comes to mental health. When it comes to tapping into your emotions, when it comes to your mind, your body, and your spirit, when it comes to being of service and just not really caring about the stigma. Of course, I'm human. There's always things I could work on. Like my father said, balance. Like father, like son. I got to balance. I got to really learn how to put not all my eggs into one basket, but sometimes spread my eggs out a bit because the mother chickens, like they need, they need their babies. I need to, so I just need to spread the love and be there for my family. I'm not really there for my family. I need to start being a brother. I need to start actually working more because I'm just a person who demands more for himself. So I would say the only thing that I really stress for myself on mental health is just being hard on myself. And I really want to encourage you guys not to be hard on yourself because as somebody who's been very hard on themselves, your mindset can only one thought can dictate your whole day. One thought. And for very long, that one thought of my mind was, you're not good. You're not good enough. You can't do it. Oh, you're seeing everybody on Instagram? Okay, you suck. You're ass. You don't have any college scouts looking at you? You suck. You went to Missouri, went to play JUCO, nobody hitting you up? You suck. So it's like things in that nature that put me in that mind of, okay, I just suck in general. Like, I just suck. So just having that mindset now of, for one, basketball is more than who I am. And for two, it's like I wasn't even bad. So even it's just really your mind and what you put into your mind, because you manifest everything before it happens. Whatever you think is going to happen straight on. And I feel like as men, when we face challenges in mental health and stuff like that, we look at reality, how reality sees us, in a way of, okay, you're a black male, you're seeing the government, you're seeing the world as fucked up, as just being hitched, when it's like that's how you see it, so that's how it's going to be in your life. When in reality, it's just really about the mind and how you see the world. You might go through, like, there's a path that you go through, but when it comes down to it, that mindset can change everything. So for me, what I'm basically saying is my mindset really helped me changed into how I thought about life and how I thought about men's mental health. And I just feel like I'm a living testimony of just really being tapped in and just understanding what you need to do in life to not only be happy, but to also make others happy. And I feel like ever since I started this brand, I've just been making others happy, and I've just been serving, and that just makes me happy. And ever since then, of course, I have stuff to work on, but my mental health has been really good. And I just want to encourage men to just do the things that they love and continue to serve the people that they love, and others also, because at the end of the day, the world is going to reward you. It's going to reward who you are as a person, or it's going to destroy who you are as a person. So when it comes to men's mental health, just continue to be that human side of you. Have that soul that you actually have, and not try to hide away from whoever you think is going to care about it, because those who are for you will come to you.
Can I ask you a quick question? I feel like I know me and Mr. Foster both played some sports when we were younger, but I think you probably were the highest level, of athlete between the three of us.
Yeah.
I know oftentimes young men, sometimes not even their own doing, people try to make that sport everything. Their entire identity. Hey, you're going to be the next Allen Iverson. Hey, you're going to be the next Lawrence Taylor. What would you say to some of those young men who have to go through the journey of realizing that I am more than just that, or especially if they don't reach that level of success that maybe they thought, or maybe that everyone else thought, and then maybe they're dealing with feelings of letting people down or letting themselves down?
Well, I was actually talking to Jalen yesterday. He gave me an idea. My season 3 is going to be season 3 podcast is going to be in spring, and I'm having straight athletes.
Yeah, I think
straight athletes. And for him, I was going to be titled the podcast More Than Athlete, because he plays football and he has a goal, like every athlete does. However, he has, I'm not going to say plan A's, plan B's, but I'm going to call them more than athlete plans. It's more than just playing a sport, because when that shit stop, it's like, okay, who am I?
Yeah.
What do I actually like to do? Who do people actually know me by, without just shooting the ball, without kicking the ball, without throwing the ball? Like, what do people actually know me by? What value can I actually bring? Not saying that you playing the sport isn't value, because I love watching athletes play. Like, I love it. I love sports. Mm-hmm. However, it's just I know athletes want more from themselves. That's why they'll possibly have sponsorships and things of that nature, because that money to the side. Like, for example, Gary Payton, he does a Gary Payton Jr. He has a I forgot what it's called, but it's a brand, and it's about dyslexia, and he just encouraged dyslexia and stuff like that. So it's like he's serving what he wants to do in his life, and it's like it's outside of basketball. So I would say continue to play the sport that you're playing. Just make sure that you actually want to do things that helps you outside of that. Like, what makes you happy outside of just basketball? Do you like to be an artist? Do you like to make music? Because making music, like when I'm mad, I put on some music and it heal my soul. So it's like just create, just continue to, as long as you're tapping into who you are, your human side, your kid side, and you're still playing a sport. I feel like I got away from that. We don't really necessarily know who we are, though, when we're kids, especially if we're playing sports, because sports is all we know. Yeah. So when we get out of that, it's like, okay, now what? And just like how you say you feel like a machine, I remember when I was young, I was telling my dad, man, I was on like what middle school. I'm like, Dad, can I just be a human for like a year? Like, can I just chill?
Yeah.
And it's just like just being an athlete, being a kid. It's actually one of the best things because it keeps you disciplined, keeps you structured, it keeps you out of trouble. But the only downside is you really don't know who you are outside of that.
Yeah.
So only thing that I really encourage that will be on season 3 is just athletes to continue to do what they're doing because that makes them happy. I understand that, but continue to put your eggs in different basket, like how I got to do. Continue to
I love that.
Spread your own passions. Look for what you want to do on the side for your free time. That's what I would say.
Could I ask you a question as well?
Yes.
So we're asking questions.
Yeah, good.
So I like that Jeremiah said that. But one thing I would like to kind of like, because we're not bashing sports or anything like that. What did all the years of basketball teach you? Like, I mean, just I watched you become this man that you are now. And like you were saying, can you be human for a moment? And there were times where we, me and your mother would have like meetings in the room. And we're like, if we give him a season, and you know what happens if you give a mouse a cookie?
The meetings.
It's going to be for the rest of the year. But so we were, just like as parents, we felt like it was really good for you guys to be in something. And that was your niche, football and basketball, mainly basketball. Buddy was known for basketball. So, like, what did you learn?
Mindset. I'll say I didn't learn anything until I stopped. But I would say mindset. Like, I think people take that very underestimated. But mindset is my main thing. Besides true authentic, mindset is the next thing for me. It's the mindset because you have to, before you do anything in life, before you even drive a car, before you buy a car, before you start a job, before you start a business, before you stretch, before you go to the gym, before you have kids, it's all about the mindset that you have. And it could either be a good stretch, a good workout, it could be a good job. You could buy the wrong car, you in debt now. Like, it's just all about how you think before you do. And depending on how you think, that's where it comes from. So I ain't gonna lie. What were we talking about?
So like, you said, what did you learn from basketball?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna cut that part. But just the mindset and knowing that everything starts with it. I was training. I would train early in the morning, just doing trainings. Yet when I'm in the game, I'm like, I have a scarcity mindset of I don't want to fuck up. I don't want to mess up because like I just don't want to. I was the type of person who really did not want to mess up. I was very scared of screwing up. Like, I remember being young, I hated getting in trouble because I just hated screwing up. So I just feel like now, thinking back of how much work I've done, I could have been like 30 shots a game or something. Like, because I played both sides of the court. I was known for defense. So it's like just knowing the mindset and what I, Jeremiah Foster, bring to the table is just the mindset of everything. Like, it really begins with knowing who you are and the work you've done and just really the main confidence of just going and get it, I would say. So, yeah.
That's what's up. Great answer. Good stuff.
Thank you. And I just want to also, let's talk about life and getting the lanes. Let's talk about how we share our and explore our free time as men's mental health. Did y'all want to talk about it?
We started to make that part of our week. Mm-hmm. We realized that even if it was just for 2 hours, that 2 hours was going to be our 2 hours for self-care. Whether we had to come in there and just talk about how stressed out we were about work, maybe it was health related, maybe we just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, just thinking like, man, I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel it. Mm-hmm. Not only were we having fun, but we were also creating a safe space for each other. And it became a very, 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 and it still remains a very important part of my life, of my week. And I feel like it's necessary. And to the point that we even brought Jeremiah in with us. And that's right. And now, we very frequently, all three of us. And I mean, maybe that is something we can work on. I mean, maybe we can have an event where we bring, more guys and we just all chop it up. I mean, it's extremely
many times.
What'd you say?
We've been asked many times.
Yeah. And I think it's very important, but I know it's extremely important for me. And Mr. Foster actually, once again, played a very big part in reminding me like, hey, nobody else is going to make the time for Nobody else is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be the one to do it. Like, nobody's going to come up to you and be like, hey, you know what? You look like you need a couple days off, or you look like you need to go bowling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, nobody's going to do it for you.
Nope.
So you have to take control of your own destiny. And I know that sounds like a Final Fantasy line, but
It's the truth,
but
though.
it's true.
It's the truth. And like you said, I do thank you guys for adding me into the Lifing in the Lane Straight Boy Classics, because, like you said, it was up to me to choose if I wanted to go or not. And at that time, I was having hard times, and I would say bowling really, especially with you guys, just not even just bowling. Probably could have just been on a game. Probably could have just been like in the same room together, and we probably didn't have to say anything to each other. But it's like just the fact to have other men just knowing that they're there for me and knowing that they're willing to listen regardless, and I'm in a safe environment with them. I'm just enjoying my time. It just brought me so much comfort. And when I'm mad, I'm throwing my back out into them pins, because it's like that's just a stress reliever, like just doing things. Yeah, like playing golf, top golf, stress reliever. So it's just having things that necessarily align with how you're feeling, and just being with those who actually, I feel like when it comes to doing the things that you want to do in your free time, I feel like men who you can relate with is just the best thing ever. Like, it's like imagine, how girls have their best friend, like probably like how your wife, your girlfriend has their best friend, and they'll tell them anything, like they'll be excited to get together and all that. So for me, when I'm around my friends, family, when I'm around them, I'm like, yeah, like I'm about to go see my niggas, like I'm about to go see my dad, I'm about to go see my uncle, like I was happy all week about this podcast, like, yeah, I got a podcast with them, like it's just knowing like this is my free time, this is my free space of my mental health already, just being in here.
I'm gonna tell y'all something wholesome real quick, because I know that people think like, oh, 3 grown men, they going out of town to the football. What are they doing? The day before we went, so we did go to a Steelers and Commanders game. Steelers won, of course.
Yes.
No, it's not. But the night before, we literally played Ninja Turtles.
Who's playing video games?
we was playing 3-player Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
And had we not gotten sleepy, I mean, we all getting a little up there in age, so we get a little sleepy sometimes.
Yes,
had we not gotten sleepy, we would have played that game for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something being around the boys, just playing Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so fun, and it felt so good.
It did.
So, yeah, I just wanted to share that, man.
Okay. So any tips other than playing Ninja Turtles and Life in the Lanes, any tips that you have for the audience on things they can do for their mental health?
Go get your Ninja Turtle game right now.
Go get it right now.
I want to say that you actually said it, Jeremiah. Bilateral stimulation. When you're bowling and you're angry, when you're moving constantly like this, you're allowing your body to explore and process emotions that you might not want to openly just talk about, because we have a hard time just talking about emotions, especially if it's not going to be received very well. Yeah. So by bowling and even getting it out, there's many times where we're bowling and, we're just in the middle of, I guess, like one of the frames or something. We're just talking about something. Yep. But before, in the beginning, we're not going to talk about it. So once we get moving, it's like, so, but you don't have to bowl. You can go running, you can go jogging, go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And gym talk, man. Cold steel, boom. So, somebody spotting you, you already know you're on the bench. You're going to be there like what, 30, 40 minutes just on the bench. Because it's a good conversation to really talk about, what you're going through, vent or whatever.
Okay.
Everything he just said was great, but I think outside of that, and it's kind of going back to something we talked about before, understand that you change as a person and be open to learning new things that make you happy, or new things so I think a thing for me was, I had a hard time accepting that some of the things that I used to enjoy doing in my 20s, or some of the things I might enjoy doing 5, 6, 7 years ago, like, it doesn't really give me that same enjoyment. And I would feel like an emptiness, like, well, dang, like, I don't like doing this anymore. Explore yourself. Find different things that make you happy. Find different things that you're interested in. Personally, I don't know why. I just woke up one day and I was like, man, I want to learn more about space. So I got a telescope and I started looking at the moon. I was like, I want a better one. I want one. That's what I'm getting myself for Christmas. Like, and it's something that I really, really, really enjoy. I enjoy learning about it. I enjoy the experience of, and for me, that's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to be open enough for myself to explore those new things. And so I would say for me, exploring new things, being willing to try new things, and also reaching out to your friends, reaching out to people that are close to you. Like I said, that was the hardest part for me, was being open about it, not being scared of how I would be perceived and if I would be judged and whatnot. But if you have those type of relationships with your friends, family, whomever it may be, utilize those people, because not everybody's privileged enough to have them. So utilize them when you have them.
Facts.
Okay. I agree with both of you guys. Yeah, I'm just proud. I'm very happy. Like, I brought you guys.
We
like
proud.
you two.
And you
just glad that you two were able to come on this podcast and just give the advice. Of course, wisdom mindset is the new currency. So I just wanted to really bring you guys in on that, and I want to implement my tips. Like they said, moving and around. Is actually what they said is perfect. I don't need to say anything. What they said is perfect. What they said is exactly what I actually encourage for my brand, especially what Chris said. Keep an open mind, open mindset. You cannot go anywhere in life without having an open mind, an abundance mindset of opportunist mindset, of thinking outside of what you normally think. Think outside of the box to actually find who you are or who you actually like, the things that you actually like to do. And being around those, like he said, like with my sister, with my father, I talked to I just had a heart-to-heart conversation with my mother. I don't talk to her. However, whenever I need anything, I have a heart-to-heart conversation with her. She's there. So it's like just having those people that is actually there for you, understand you, and who are just uplifting you. People should uplift you, not bring you down. Like when you talk to them, you should be feeling better. You should not be feeling worse. You should not be crying, any of that. So unless it's tears of joy, but just actually being around those who actually love you and doing the things that you actually love, and like Chris said, just having a opportunist mind of new things.
The last thing, I'm so sorry, but
You
one
got
thing
it.
I really forgot I want to say. It's hard, but don't be afraid to part with things in your life that are toxic or that are bringing negativity to your life.
Yes.
I think separating yourself from people is one of the hardest things to do, because I feel like we put so much value in time.
We're afraid to move on to the next.
Right. But exactly. But it's not about, it's not just about time. You could be with somebody for 10 years, but if all they brought was negativity, why is that time even valuable? You know what I mean? So don't be
Are we having dessert right now?
Ooh.
Yeah, we had the main course.
Ooh.
So you're talking about
had to bring them back for that cheesecake.
Of course.
Cheesecake?
Talk to them.
It tastes so good to me. So you said something very true. So if a person is in your life at a particular moment, you can find that they can anchor you, or you can find that person, you can be codependent on that person. And basically what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to go out in the world and then come back, and that's your anchor. But while you're out there, you're experiencing things. You can get to a point where you're realizing that the anchor may not be heavy enough to keep you weighted down. I try to look at things on a more positive note instead of a negative note, only because I want to, and for my life, I want to be able to not look at a person as being negative, but what they're doing, as far as like their relationship that we have, it might be, it's time to sever it. It's time to let it go. I mean, you see it in the scriptures, you see it in the Quran. I mean, you see it everywhere, where people in relationships, eventually they part ways, because as a person you grow. And of course, a snake sheds their skin. Other animals, they molt or whatever, they grow. And there is a thing that when you grow, it actually hurts. It's called growing pains. Your body, when you're sleeping, you're tossing and turning because your bones and everything, they're growing. Jeremiah, when he was younger, his knees, boy, don't touch them knees, boy. You touch them knees. He had, I think it's called Oscar Scalaris.
I had that.
Tendonitis, the tendonitis
6 foot guys got it, and I don't have it because I'm not 6 foot.
Braces and stuff when I was in middle school. Yeah.
Lord. I didn't have it because I'm not 6 foot.
Yeah, I had that too.
So
I was like, what is Oscar Slaughter?
yeah, that was it, right?
Yeah, Oscar Slaughter,
I said it right, yes. So yeah, just understand that, about yourself, is that person serves a purpose in your life. So just try to, really just see what it is, look at it circumspect. You know, a turtle and a giraffe, they see views from two different planes. You know, turtles down low, giraffes up high. Sometimes you gotta, let somebody go, or you just have to limit the time that you have with that person based on where you're going. I like what Jeremiah talked about. Very true about his friends. I like that he can come full circle with them. But they go out and they explore. And then it's like they come back and they like share and everything else, and then they go back out. So I just like those type of conversations that he brings up.
Stop serving what's no longer serving you. But other than that, yeah, I think that wraps up the video. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna really say for the audience, how strong is how important is men's mental health to you? I really want to ask that. How really important? How valuable is your mental health? How valuable are you into the world? And if you just want to talk, have any conversations, you could just always go to my comment section or go to my Instagram as well. This is Foundation to Success, the Mental Health Boys. And I will actually provide the link in the bio below on the video. I'll do that. But I really say what you can take away from this video is just be human. Know that you're human. Know that you're going to feel things. Know that you're going to have more than one emotion. It's okay to express more than just one emotion. Know that there's free time that you may have to do in order to understand that you have that abundance of just being who you are, being human, of just relaxing, just because I know we're all tired of just living, like Chris said, being a mechanic. I know we're all tired of having that go-getting mentality, and it gets tiring. Life can get tiring, and sometimes we just need to do things that can make life better. We have to live in the moment. So the things that we do at this moment, we have to enjoy, and we have to take our time out for a moment to do the things that we actually love and remind us that we're human and that we're spirited. We have a good soul, that we're men. We're actual men that are loved, that are valued, that we're served as well. Like we should be of service, and we should not be served. I made this hoodie. Why hate me when you love God? By reading a book called Male versus Man. I made this hoodie off of reading a book called Male versus Man. And I just really want to remind you guys that never hate on anybody, never judge anybody. Remember that you're the men here. You should be of service. Continue to serve, because like I said, once you put into this world is what you're going to get exactly back. So just continue to put on positivity. Continue to spread men's mental health awareness. Continue to reach out and continue to be yourself. Other than that, this is Foundation to Success, Mental Health Boys. Once again, like I said, we will put the link below in the description, and I will have it in my video as well. I appreciate Mr. Foster and Mr. Sapp for being here.
Absolutely.
I appreciate Kimber in the background for setting everything up, because everything looks beautiful. And I will actually put their stuff also online to where you can watch their podcast as well. But other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
249.